Alright, we are back with some more Star Wars content, and today I'll be on my Vanguard tank. I'll be showing you a bit about how I play a Vanguard tank, some of the abilities, some of the stuff you can do, how to keep, threat depending on the type of enemies you're fighting, some of the little tips and tricks that I've picked up from playing this class. Filler is either Hammer Shot or Ion Pulse. Holy fuck, that cannon is ridiculous. Basically stock strike whenever it's up. Oh, what did I find? A massive flashpoint, just like that. Oh, I am so fat, I have to jump. Alright, now we've cleared out our inventory log, and let's think about what we want to play today. What do we want to do? There's always a few things. You can see what your guild's up to, see if someone wants to do some group content. You could use the activity finder. Well, you want to prearrange a group if you're going to go into operations, but uprisings usually need to prearrange a group just because not many people use the queue for it. Flashpoints, you can always pop in the queue for that. PvP. Do GSF. Sometimes that can be a bit hard to get the PvP stuff to pop and give you a match. And then of course solo tab here. We've got just heroic areas, daily areas, and then flashpoints that have a solo mode, so they specifically give you a special god bot, I like to call it, who's very powerful. It makes it easy to solo. Got this crazy UI here that's supposed to help you figure out, like, here's something you could do from your mission log. Flashpoint Havoc. No idea what that actually is. So speaking of galactic seasons, that's another thing you could consider doing. Shitty version of a battle pass system. Defeat non-player opponents across CZ-198 Illimor Iocath. That's actually really easy. CZ-198 is an area I go to make conquest anyways every day. And then CZ-198 daily missions. Oh, this is great. I love going to CZ-198 and just mushing out my 50k conquest real fast on there. So I think that might be what we end up doing. Unranked war zones, or what is this? Complete veteran flashpoints in unknown wild space. Woo! Anyways, so it's just a certain amount of flashpoints. You have to do them on veteran difficulty mode. I really hate the fact that you can't complete them on master as well, but that's just how it goes. So let's hop into our solo tab. Let's find the daily area for CZ-198. I haven't played my Vanguard in quite a while. It's not something I play too often. I keep claiming I'm going to swap it over to the DPS spec, and it's still set to tank spec. So, I've not changed that, even though I keep saying I will. One of the things that I do really like about the Vanguard is they're just so versatile of a toolkit. The downside compared to a lot of the other classes is that they don't have defensives that allow you to completely mitigate an attack, like using stealth or reflect. They don't necessarily have the same level of like, hey, I've got this one ability that like totally negates certain boss mechanics. So they're kind of about just having like a steady stream of like, let's have some defensives. You do have your battle focus, which is an awesome ability in terms of how well it allows you to provide some quick damage reduction. I believe it's 25% DR. And then of course Energy Blast, really good. You also proc some stuff like when you use your Ion Storm, and you get some passives that end up giving you really high like shield and absorb rate. You get pretty high defense rate to begin with, just like the Guardian tank. They have that heavy armor on, so that's something that's very nice. They just generally don't take as much damage from all the constant hits, whereas they don't necessarily have quite as much to mitigate against the really big hits. You could go through all the trouble of grinding out emergency power set, which would give you some benefits there in terms of having you use power yield and you basically become invincible for like 3 seconds. Otherwise though, they don't have like as obvious of a click this button and just don't die. So they're a little bit harder to get used to using the defensives, especially when we look at something like a thermal screen. So power screen now stacks up 6 times. Energy Blast when it consumes 3 stacks on use. Activating Power Shield finishes a cooldown of Energy Blast. Helps you defensively. Like, it allows you to use your Energy Blast more often, basically, for that constant defensive boost that it provides. And then, of course, I am wearing the Meteor Brawler set, which is more DPS focused set. So, I'm not going to be getting those benefits of... Ooh. I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. I've lost track of everything. Power yield, if you're not using it with emergency power, it's one of these things you have to take damage first. So Whenever you take damage, an additional stack of power yield is applied up to 5 times. That's one of those things where you really gotta be focused on saying, whoa, why do the stairwells look different than usual? We're gonna go in here, we're gonna go kill this guy, and then he gives me a couple of these objectives to pick up. Power yield, using it effectively, you have to have a little bit of foresight on how to use it. You don't just click it right before you take damage from one big attack. It doesn't work like that. You need to build up those stacks if you want to get that maximum damage reduction. Adrenaline Rush is simply just healing, self-healing, just like on the Commando Trooper class. That isn't the Vanguard. I don't know, it isn't a tank. And then Reactive Shield is only at 25% DR. So again, you know, a lot of your DRs are much smaller. You can't potentially mitigate 100% of the damage the same way that, say, a Saber Reflect could, or Stealthy on a combat to avoid mechanics. But it's still a good class. It's one of the things that I struggle to get used to and play well about this class is the fact that a lot of your abilities are centered around the enemy and not centered around yourself. So I find that it's a little bit harder to use some of those abilities to properly generate threat, because you really have to pay more attention to who your current target is and what their relationship is to other enemies in the game. So I've definitely had a few times where it's given me a struggle. Just with that, you know, like if you want to use Flak Shell, that's one that's centered around enemy, you don't place on the ground. But Artillery Blitz is so much fun. Like, you get to run around while it's shooting these awesome purple gobs of goo. I don't know, just satisfying to use. But Flak Shell, you know, you have to shoot it towards the enemies that you want to hit. And then your AoE taunt also is on the enemy that it's targeting. I don't know why I can't kill these guys, they are out of my way. And Ion Storm. Ion Storm can be so annoying because you have to rotate your character to use Ion Storm. If your character isn't looking at them, Ion Storm doesn't do anything useful. And you're basically boned. And part of the problem with that is you might rotate yourself quite a bit, you know, to get out of a boss's cleave or a mechanic or something like that. So now you're not standing where you can easily Ion Storm everything. But you might think you are, and you use another attack or ability, but not every... I forget, I think it's the Hammer Shot doesn't turn you. There's one of my attacks that doesn't turn me. It's super annoying. So even though I might have shot at the enemy after repositioning myself, I don't end up actually moving. Let's see, is it this one? You'll see I'm facing that way now. Let's see. Now let's use an Ion Storm. Okay, that did turn me. Maybe it was Stock Strike, then it doesn't turn you. I can never really remember which one it is. She's just killing everything for me because she's so good. So let's try now. Stock Strike there. Ah, that turned me. Man, it's been a while since I played. I can't even remember which ability is it doesn't turn me because I've run into that problem so many times. A lot of people will actually play with the Star Parts timer to tell them when they can re-proc Ion Storm because there is an internal cooldown for that. Overall though, if you're playing the tank spec, it's pretty straightforward, fairly easy to play. Just in terms of like generally easy. I don't necessarily know if I would say it's as easy as playing a Guardian tank, but it does provide you with a lot more options for effect damage. So in that sense, you could say, you know, it's got areas where it plays stronger or easier than a Guardian tank, which would be when you have a lot to control at once, you know, multiple enemies. Whereas Guardian tank probably, I would say, definitely plays a little easier on a single target. General idea though that I've set up with how I play my Vanguard tank is I have just a spammable AoE on my 1, and then I got my lead gap closer on my 2, and then it's kind of a priority system. Basically, Stock Strike whenever it's up, High Impact Bolt. High Impact Bolt, you have to hit them either with a Hammer Shot first, or I think Ion Storm. I can't remember. Maybe Ion Pulse does. Basically, make them suffering from a bleed, a dot. So your Hammer Shot, actually, there's a passive that makes it apply a dot on the enemy So that's why Hammer Shot is one of the things that allows you to use High Impact Bolt. But generally the idea is High Impact Bolt's really good. It also does count as an AoE. It spreads to nearby enemies. And so that's your next priority. And then Ion Storm. And then after that, it would be Ion Pulse and Hammer Shot. I put Hammer Shot in my 4 slot just because that key binding is easy to click. And you spend a lot of time just using filler. Filler is either Hammer Shot or Ion Pulse. Now, Energy Blast is technically your highest priority. It can be used off GCD, so you want to be using that all the time, whenever you can, that it's available. So, it's not necessarily in the priority list. Now, I like to use Hammer Shot more often than I like to use Ion Pulse. Ion Pulse does apply a debuff to the enemy, and it technically does a little bit more damage than Hammer Shot, but Hammer Shot does apply that bleed, that dot, which isn't the main reason why I like using it more. The main reason I like using it more is it reduces the cooldown on Energy Blast faster. So it's a very small DPS loss to get Energy Blast up more often, which is a defensive and a high threat generator. A lot of times people for the opening, they'll start off with an Ion Storm, because you're going to proc your Ion Storm and be able to use it again real quick after your opener. And the debuff that you get from the Ion Pulse, that's basically a 45 seconds, so you really don't need to use it all that often. I'm not paying attention to when I'm talking. Shoulder cannons are one of the things that makes the Vanguard so much fun, is that you've got these off GCD abilities. Shoulder cannons. Oh, somebody else came in victory shooting. But yeah, shoulder cannons off the GCD, you can have that really good little burst with those, especially if you pair it with like a battle focus. I've never tried pairing with a power yield. And then of course you got Riot Gas as another mini defensive. Everything inside of there has their accuracy reduced, which gives them a chance of not hitting you at all, which is nice. Under AoE toolkit, of course, Black Shell centered around the enemy you shoot. So you gotta think about which one you're placing it. Where is Artillery Blitz? What else do we want to go over? We've got Taunt, AoE Taunt, Defensives, Guard, usual tank stuff. Some other things that are quite nice is Stealth Scan. It can be very useful at times to have that Stealth Scan. There are some operations like Duxon especially, and you can use it in EC as well. So, you've got places where you can use your Stealth Scan. I can't remember if the tank spec can get the speed boost on Stealth Scan. I don't think so. But it'd be a utility if you can get it. I have to double check. One thing that's really, really nice though is that Neural Surge, the stun ability that they've got. So everything gets stunned for 2.5 seconds, I think it is. Let's see, 3 seconds. So everything up to 8 enemies within 8 meters gets stunned for 3 seconds. And what makes that so amazing is all the other ones are based around the idea that as soon as you do damage, nothing is stunned anymore. So this gives you a lot more options because everything stays stunned for that 3 seconds. It's not very long, of course. That's the biggest downside. That's just my interrupt there. So, and then Harpoon. Harpoon's nice. Having any kind of a grapple is always nice. Can't... was that to feed enemies too? Yeah, so I would have gotten the 75 kills needed for the Galactic Seasons. Awesome, there it is right there. Alright. Yeah, but just in general, the Vanguard tank, you've got a lot of passive damage mitigation if you're using your abilities correctly to keep up all that passive damage mitigation. Trying to get Energy Blast up as much as you can, making sure Ion Pulse is used before it wears off. Learning how to effectively use Power Yield is something that I haven't really taken the time to do though. Oh, I actually moved this tentacle. Holy fuck, I didn't know you could do that. That is hilarious. That's new to me. And also just having those shoulder cannons for that kind of first threat generation, I do like that. That's a nice little feature of the Vanguard, although it's one that I struggle with using effectively. Hold the line is the other big thing that Vanguards have that kind of make them a bit unique in that they've got hold the line can give them a really good speed boost. It's not as good as using Force Speed, but it's a decent speed boost, and most importantly, it actually prevents knockback and movement or other stuff like that. So that's a real big one. Is there are some fights where having hold the line, the cheese, getting knocked around by the boss is just a nice quality of life thing. So it can be really good from that point of view as well. That is so frustrating that I didn't actually make Conquest. I'm so close. I can make Conquest just probably from doing crew skills. I do enjoy playing the Vanguard sometimes, but it's definitely a class that I've taken the least amount of time to work on, even though he has the most expensive weapon out of all of... It's the only one I've actually put a tuning on. And the weapon itself I had to buy. Yeah, never had anybody who was this expensive, and yet I don't even play him that much. You know, like... Oh, that's pretty cool. It looks quite kind of dark side. I think what he's trying to go for is like an evil Sith or something. I don't know if he is. I wonder what's actually in the daily group finder first for operations before. Nothing of interesting. It's TFB and gods, so they don't work towards me wanting that, so I'm gonna have to look for... I might just do... Oh gosh, maybe we'll do PC. I don't really feel like doing KP. I don't think I'm gonna find anybody right now, but I'll try. Looks like I'm not gonna find anybody who wants to form up for an op at this rate. What the hell is this ugly headset? Oh gosh, I have a face? What is that? Oh no. Hide it, please. This belt's actually pretty decent. I kinda like it. Wait, what? Did it just add a lightsaber to it? Oh, I don't want to sell that. Good thing I can sell it. There always is a buyback tab though. You can buy something back that you just recently sold just to make sure. Cannon. Holy fuck, that cannon is ridiculous. I don't necessarily like it, but it's funny as hell how big it is. It's not the worst either. Right price fan race. So right price is the other set that works well defensively. So battle focus, you increase damage done if you're in the iron cell spec, or it's increases damage reduction while iron cell is not being used. Each time you take damage while under power yield, the cooldown of battle focus is reduced by 3 seconds. So that's quite good that you can basically just spam... Well, you can get a faster battle focus while under power yield. So it just makes your defensives a little bit stronger. Return to your post. More often. And I've also got oil fire. Riot gas makes targets susceptible to ion storm. For each enemy affected by riot gas hit with ion storm, the damage reduction is increased by 2%. Cooldown of riot gas is reduced by 1.5 seconds. So yeah, that's a defensive based tactical. Let's check out this mount. Let's see what I get. Fuck your animations of gambling. Not as crappy as I thought it would be. Casual Vandal armor set. Oh my gosh. Oh gosh. Keep the helmet on. Oh, what did I find? A massive flashpoint just like that. Sure, why not? Let's hop in. It's not often that when you solo queue for a massive flashpoint that you get to pop that fast. Healers and tanks are the role in need. Quite often healer is the hardest one, but sometimes it is tanks. Now, finding somebody who actually knows what they're doing is always really hard as well. Oh gosh. Why the hell? These guys aggro on us. Hate it when they do that, because now we actually have to fight them. Because they're fighting the NPCs, they won't listen to us. Okay, we don't have the healer in here yet, so that is a bucket load of fun. Let's harpoon him over here. Now you can always double AoEs that need to be placed on the ground. You can always double click them instead. Get them. I actually can't remember if a proc Ion Storm is higher priority than a stock strike. I still, yeah, I'm not sure on that. Interesting. Oh, yay. That was a bit of a messy start, but mostly just because we weren't all ready. Oh, healer wasn't ready. More than anything. I wasn't getting healed. This is really weird. Why are those guys lighting up like that? That is something I'm not used to seeing them glow with that electric field. I don't know if something went wrong with my graphics settings or what. These guys, usually I just line of sight them back to here. I probably have my AoE on hotkey, I just couldn't remember. Gotta use a defensive here, taking a little too much damage for our healer. Up quick. Buy him a little bit of time. Almost no one left. I don't know why they lifted one guy back there, that was kind of pointless. This means now we've got to wait for... Now we just gotta go kill him after we've killed everything else. That's really what it means. I forgot to use an Ion Pulse, but honestly, when you're dealing with a whole bunch of enemies at once, using Ion Pulse isn't as good. It's quite good on bosses, single target. But against smaller guys, it's kind of like, man, why would you do it? Soul Drain, you want to interrupt that ability on this boss. Pretty crappy if you don't. Done and done. Things didn't work out. Probably earn Conquest from something else in the Flashpoint before I can earn Conquest from sending out my companions with crew skills. It's simple, just a Renown rank up. I'm not that close to Renown rank up. He's going for a Soul Drain, but it's stuck in his chest. What? That was interesting. Must have been another player's ability that was stuck in his chest. A crystal? Interesting. Interesting. Oops, that was the wrong ability. I wanted to harpoon him over here. There we go. This guy I'm not attacking, so I'll throw a taunt on him. And then we'll just spam. I don't know why I just sat there. Is this guy looking at me? Oh, good, he is. I know the other one stopped looking at me for a bit there. Not like a failure of a tank. Can't even keep. So if you got a stealthy, you want to be careful here, because as soon as that guy's put to sleep, everybody can sneak by. By going, oh, I am so fat, I have to jump. Barely fit. This is the problem with choosing large body types, is there are some shortcuts you cannot take as a result. Be aware of that. Your choices impact your ability. Like here, if nobody can fix this, scavenging, then there's a shortcut that I wouldn't be able to take right through here, through these crates, because my body type's too large. But if you have a smaller body type, you can actually fit through the crates instead of having to fight the group of enemies that's up in this area. Really, all this shortcut does is skip one group of enemies. The group that's down there. They're an annoying group to fight, though, I'll give them that. Because everything else, yeah. Don't need to slice for. You can still skip everything else. You just want to go a little bit wider on that pillar, and the turrets don't see you, and then you can skip a lot of fights there. And then this area, yeah, you don't have to go up and deal with a bunch of stuff. Jump up on these consoles, and there'll be a whole bunch of enemies up there to fight. When you engage these guys down here as well. A little bit of threat built on some enemies. Arcane one in. I want that guy. Just keep as much as I can from looking at the healer really is my goal here. I don't care as much. So with this boss, you do actually have to make sure that you keep the red and blue crystals. I did end up getting it from gathering. You keep the red and blue crystals from getting too lopsided towards the color attack he does, or you will die. He has like all of them red and then does the red attack thing. See here he's doing red beam. So as you can see, all of them have been turned red, so everyone needs to go and click something to blue. Man, I am not keeping threat. I could try guarding that guy. I don't know if he was specifically. Yeah. Oh, I can still rep threat there for a second. Okay, so now we need to turn some of these red so that I don't die. Although I don't know if you'd really die that much or not. Is this guy fucking haunting because he's a shadow? Like, now that I have him guarded, he should not be ripping threat that easily. Oh, now someone else supposedly has it. Now we need to turn some of these red. I really should have used my hold the line there. Oh, fuck. Oh, it doesn't hurt as much as I thought it would. Brilliant. That's good to know. It used to be scary like that. I think the main thing though is that like as long as one of them is changed, it's not that bad. But if none of them are changed, I'm sure it does a lot of damage. Could be wrong though. Alright. Gotta always remember to go back up and click this console. That's something that I forget a lot. Only one person needs to do it, and then we can just run through the rest of these enemies. Because they will evade. They will evade once you're in the elevator.
The age of the Republic and the Jedi is over.
Kinda ridiculous. Hey, that's the same guy I saw on Fleet earlier. That's hilarious. So yeah, we can let a stealth or sleep someone here. Eado. And let him sleep somebody here. And this area is a bit harder. If you have go to sleep, you can put everything to sleep that's necessary. But otherwise, you can't. You just saw there. The other problem with stealthing too much in this operation is if anybody gets knocked off the edge up ahead, there's a spot where you can get knocked off. Yeah, say goodbye to being able to get back to the group because there's so many shortcuts you can take with stealthers. That's also why you may have heard people talking specifically about Red Reaper stealth-only runs. It's because this one does lend itself so well to stealth classes, avoiding almost everything except for the bosses. Oh, looking for more TC all rolls. I don't want TC. I want Eternity Vault. Or KP, so that I can work towards my mount. These choices feel so cheap. I don't feel like any of them actually are that. I don't feel that impactful, any of them. I don't necessarily feel like oh, leave everything alone as a light side choice. So light side choice is just don't do fucking anything? I'm confused. As you can see, we're starting to get into a lot of the stealthing past stuff and sleep. You gotta be very careful not to get knocked off the edge up ahead. Make sure you put that other guy to sleep before. Whoa! Okay, that one did see me. That was a little unfortunate. Well. this other guy into a fray. No, didn't. I gotta get him to wake him up. There we go. Whoa, did he just climb on top of this thing? Oh my god, what a badass. I can't believe you just climbed on top of this to fight us. You definitely have the high ground now. Shoulder cannons are not loaded. I'm gonna load them up. Fine, start loading them now. This is the bridge of like, don't get fucked. There we go. Now we won't get fucked. That is nice. How's that delay doing? I'll give him a little bit of a break. Top defensive there. Top second defensive. Holy crikey, I'm giving him way too much of a break. Now I'll have nothing left when I actually need them. I don't even know if everything's... Oh, everything is looking at me. That's good. I just kind of spam tab is what I do. And then I just check target to target as I'm spamming tab. Make sure that I just see my name. Little way to check. At least that's the way I do it. Sweet. That was well done. And now we're at the boss. A little early to taunt there, but whatever. We can make it work. There is some kind of cheese for doing this on Master Mode, where you can just like run to the far side to deal with it. Oh crikey, we need to deal with this problem now. So see, the problem is you get stunned so much by his ability. So if you're the person who's got the lightning on you, it's very hard to actually deal with. Okay, is he gonna kill this ad for us finally? Yeah, there we go. Now we can go on to the second one. But if you can just use like hold the line to unroot yourself, you cannot. Interesting. There is no escape until the boss gets interrupted. Interrupted, interrupted. Ah! I told you certain things don't work. Interrupt the boss. Alright, there we go. Now we've got it on the... Well, we had it on the Chosen. No way! What an asshat. There we go. Yeah. I'm rooted in place again. So frustrating doing this boss. Zoomy! Let's turn on our friggin' amazing... Hold the line. So good. Hey, don't taunt him off me, you asshole. I am the tank, not you. What are you doing? Stop taunting off me, you asshat. Oh well. There we go. What is this? Do I already have it? I do not have this. It's an ugly deco though, but I'll still roll for it. Just because I don't have it. There we go. Look at that. We managed to do Red Reaper, Shitty fucking boring Flashpoint. But we did it! Okay, quickly, before you guys think this is the end of the video and everything's done, there are a couple minutes left. Well, maybe not quite that many. A little bit left at the end, but I did want to cut in and I wanted to just say I really hope that you guys like some of the editing I did here, some of the changes I did. I tried adding a bunch of music, doing a little bit more cutting things out. I tried to be careful not to cut too much. It's tempting to just cut to the parts that keep it all action-packed, all like you don't want to click away at any point, but I also didn't want to leave you sitting there being like, well, I was wanting to see how you did all steps of this, watch it from start to finish. So I definitely wanted to leave in that. I really hope that you guys will give me some feedback if you like this. If you don't, I really would like to try and create content that people like, that they want to watch, and that motivates me to keep creating content, keep spending the high number of hours on editing rather than just throwing up something I've recorded on OBS and just letting you watch the kind of train wreck of as things go naturally and stutter and so again, thank you so much for watching. I'm very glad that you've watched through to this point, and I really hope to hear your thoughts and comments if you want to share anything. All right, well, hopefully, hopefully you enjoyed watching that, seeing a little bit about how I play my Vanguard as a tank class. As I said, this is definitely one of my weakest classes that I play for tanks. I'm the least familiar with this one. So, yeah, a little bit, and haven't played it for quite a while, so definitely feel pretty rusty on how to play this class. But that's the basics for you. You know, it's not too crazy. It's kind of a little bit like a Guardian tank in terms of like you don't have to think as much about when you're using defensives. It's got a fairly simple like priority kind of system. Like you can just click stuff left to right if you want. You don't really have to think too hard about what you're proccing, but if you do want to be really good, you want to think about when you can proc Ion Storm and when you can't. And then, yeah, try and get Energy Blast used a lot. It's always nice. And it's got a huge range of AoE stuff between High Impact Bolt can be AoE, Ion Storm is AoE, Artillery Blitz, Flak Shell, and Spammable Explosive Surge. So you get a lot of options for AoE, even a better toolkit than a Shadow or Assassin tank would get. So that's a really nice thing as well. What else am I thinking? No, that's pretty much it. So, again, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments down below. Thanks. Have a great day.